son just returned from Okinawa. He deployed for a year. He just got back last week, so he hadn't been around all the doom and gloom as much. Kind of had bits and pieces. It wasn't, they're kind of out of the news cycle over there. So he gets back and he looks at the convention and looks at around and says, "No, this is not so bad from what I just gave him. This is the greatest country in the world. We have enormous potential. People respect us all over the world. We'll get through this." So as someone who's been outside the bubble coming back and serving his country, that was his reaction. It's like, yeah, it's okay. So we'll get through this virus. But I'm excited. Everybody I'm deployed with is still excited, and we couldn't be more proud of the country. And so someone that age saying that, I just hope all of them are saying that.
Repeat that. Pain is
real, but suffering is optional. It's not mine. It's something that I picked up from Buddhist literature. But it kind of summarizes the whole thing, right? Because this doesn't deny the reality that a lot of us go through various kinds of challenges and circumstances in life. It doesn't deny that. But it also teaches us that there is a mental attitude how we deal with it, and that suffering is optional. That's something actually, even for me, it took a while to understand what it means to be optional. It means I can choose not to suffer. That's actually a profound discovery, I would say. It's a profound discovery to realize that you can choose not to suffer, even if there's some pain there. So that is what actually taught me. And that after that, I've actually been, and I try to be always, one thing I try to practice is always be kind. You can never have to use a harsh word when you can use a polite word. All those simple things. Then try not to make somebody angry. I mean, in our public interactions, you go out something. We can choose not to make somebody angry. Right? And if somebody is angry, we can maybe withdraw from the confrontation. So a lot of these things actually, and just simple tricks like that can actually keep us on a daily even keel. That's what I try. And of course, I slip up once in a while and all that, but still, usually I am on a balanced perspective that our previous generations have gone through far, far, far worse than what we have gone through. And the World War is a good example. One episode in history I always remind myself is what happened in the Nazi Germany, what happened in Soviet Union, what happened during Cultural Revolution in China. These were far greater challenges than anything the rest of the world, including in India, we've gone through. What the Chinese people went through, what Soviet Union, the people who went through there during all those periods of Stalinist terror, what people went through in Germany, a lot of those things, those are the real gut-wrenching episodes of history. Compared to that, the pandemic is challenging, but at least it's not nowhere as big a deal. And that's why we have to put things in perspective. And if we do that, then we also, and humanity came back from these episodes. And I mean, one of the most brilliant recoveries is China. I mean, in 1970, China was down completely in the dumps because of Cultural Revolution, the devastation. And then in 40 years later, they were a world superpower. So you can see that humanity springs back from these. So if we keep that in mind, we keep a perspective and don't overthink or overweight the current moment of difficulties.
I rewatched the movie Hidden Figures.
Yes.
And, boy, that hit home. It really did. And I'll tell you, those women are so inspirational. They didn't set out to change those biases, but they did by simply getting the job done, educating themselves and doing the work. Biases be damned. Those women really made a huge impact on the space industry. I'm glad someone finally made a movie about it because they truly were hidden figures.
And, I think that is, to me as an immigrant, I just look at, like I said, the opportunities here. It's just unbelievable how generation after generation a worker has found, like you mentioned your cousin. I mean, how does a welder become a process improvement guy? Because you just look for opportunities to navigate your way around, and they're there. You just have to grab them. So, Cindy, this has been wonderful. Thank you for your service to the industry. 45 years. Oh my God, that is a long time.
It is.
One of the things we did as a result of the pandemic is we obviously couldn't do in-person events anymore. So we started a podcast series, and those are all out on our website, which is www.commongroundcommittee.org. And one of them is with a Black musician from Mississippi, he's not from there. He lives there now. His name is Daryl Davis. And to make a long story short, Daryl Davis, through conversations and building relationships, either directly or indirectly, caused over 200 members of the Klan, the Ku Klux Klan, to turn in their robes.
Wow.
You know, it's a phenomenal story. And, you know, he didn't go in there and say, you know, your culture is, you guys are all messed up. You got this all wrong. But they learned to respect him. And they were like, you know, he's got the same challenges we do. He's got a family. He's trying to feed his family. He wants his kids to, you know, go to the best schools that he can. You know, we share in these things.
I was fortunate to meet a man named Sam Zell when I was 17 years old, maybe 18. No special relationship, no family kind of connection. I heard him speak, and I went and introduced myself after, and he saw me for something special, which I don't know why. I don't know what he saw. All I know is he saw me for who I wanted to be, even more than who I was. And he, without saying these words, what he opened up the door to was a mentorship type relationship, a mentor relationship. And now it's 33 years later, and Sam is still, he is one of my closest, most important mentors that I have. And having been the beneficiary, and it's not about him investing in my companies or anything. I mean, this is a pure mentor relationship at its best. Appreciating that as deeply as I do, I've consistently been more interested in learning than knowing. Or you know, I prefer curiosity as a growth edge over like telling you what I know. Like, I want to figure out what I don't know. And I've added more and more mentors over the years, and now I'm fundamentally paying it forward to so many young people who I mentor. But to me, that's what life's about. It's taking what you do know and figuring out what that next level looks like.
What is humanity prioritized as networking in the world when it comes to data? And the answer is online advertising data. We have optimized how to sell people more stuff, more than anything else, like climate change data, cancer data, poverty data. No, almost not networked at all. So part of the reason we started the company as a B corporation is we wanted to make an impact where if we created a giant knowledge graph and we democratized access to that where anybody could use it regardless of the technical proficiency, then they would be able to solve the world's biggest problems. And let's face it, we have some big problems in the world. I mean, I am an optimist and I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a product of America and the system and parents that were entrepreneurs, and a lot of love and caring has been poured into me, and a lot of people have helped me get to this point, and I honor them every day. And there's a lot of luck I've had to get to this point in life. But there are huge red lights blinking on the horizon that, look, I think we'll solve. And I think the first trillionaire is going to be created solving things like climate change. I think we're going to solve cancer. I think we're going to solve climate change. I think we're going to solve poverty. I think we're going to solve all the major diseases of the world. And we're going to do it faster and faster than before because computers are accelerating everything. And we've seen that this year with COVID-19 when it comes to a vaccine.
In the family, has it been your faith? What has kept you optimistic? What has kept you positive?
It's humanity, man. I see the good in humanity. I mean, we have so much opportunity. I mean, our job is to lead, like whoever you are, you lead in your small way. If you lead a family, if you lead a small group, if you lead a small organization, our jobs are, is to really make the world a better place for the next generation. I mean, that came from my parents. I mean, they came here. My dad came from Taiwan with $50 and half a suitcase, right? I mean, he had a college scholarship to Montana State University. If he didn't make it, he wasn't going to make it, right? I mean, he fought for that. Right. My mom came here with an English degree and, like her job was to go figure it out. I mean, they figured it out and their goal was, they only had one goal. And this is the immigrant mindset. I don't care what race. I don't care what culture. I don't care what religion. I don't care where you come from. Immigrants are a different breed. They come to make the world a better place for the next generation and for themselves. They come to pioneer. They have a very different set of values, right? They believe in working hard. They believe in thrift. They believe in making a better place. Not everyone does it, but when you can, I mean, and, my mom volunteered a lot, right? I mean, so we've always been exposed to that. And with our kids, it's the same thing. I mean, like, honestly, people ask me, do you have any help in your house? I mean, here's a funny story. I mean, yeah, I was cutting the lawn outside, and this is after, this is like 6-7 years ago. My dad was outside. He's been cutting lawn. He's got a big hat. People think it's a sombrero, but it's not. He's cutting the lawn in a wife beater and shorts, and that's fine. So he's done that for 4 weeks. I go back to cut my lawn, and okay, right away, my neighbor comes up to me and says, "Hey, can you cut my lawn?" I'm like, no, but you can take the lawnmower if you need it. Here, I'll show you how to use it. He's like, no, can you cut my lawn? I'm like, I can't, but you can have the lawnmower. And then he goes back to me. He's like, do you want to check with the owner? I mean, if you start hiring folks to go cut the lawn, then your kids never learn how to cut the lawn, right? And you're like, okay, it's a bad time money value equation. I totally get it. But you have to lead by example. Right. So we don't have anyone cleaning the house. Kids clean the house. Right. We do our own lawn care. Like if it's something I really can't fix, like plumbing, like I don't want to mess with, fine, I'll go get a plumber, but it's building that self-sufficiency. Right. And my kids are third generation. So by the time you get to third generation, it's a mess anyways. You're not fighting as hard unless you instill those values. And if your parents are lazy, your kids are going to be lazy. Right. And so it's those little things like, so you got to lead by example. Like in our company, same thing. Like, everybody, we've been working from home for quite some time. And if I was depressed all day trying to figure out, holy crap, we're about to have the worst quarter ever in the company. If this thing all shuts down, no one's going to events, no one's speaking, right? That whole business has gone away. Live events are completely crushed. Like 50% of our revenue is at risk. If I walk around scared, there's no way you'd make it. Right. So it's like, here's what we're going to work on. So we jumped in and said, we're going to do the post-pandemic playbook. Let's figure out how to actually think this out. I'm going to build the model, template it. You guys build another template. Let's go out and talk about it. See where we are. Let's go reach out to our clients, see how they're doing. Right. Don't sell. See how they're doing. See what they're going through. Have a conversation. We've been friends with these folks for so long. Understand where they are. Figure out where we can help. Sometimes we get paid. Sometimes we don't get paid. It's okay. Let's just get something in place. Let's work with everybody and make a change. And so I think it just comes from watching other leaders do that, watching other people handle that in crises, watching my parents, and it's just important, right?
I think the Indian community, as you well know, Vinnie, you're one of us. You realize in the short time as immigrants, in the last 40, 50 years, we've grown to become not just 1% of this country, but 7% of the doctors, 10% of the IT workforce, billionaires on the Forbes list, but also the biggest philanthropists are coming out of our community, right? So when the pandemic happened, the way in diaspora and our community reacted was one of giving. We started a campaign called Chalo Give that said, let's give to fight hunger, not just in the United States. We enabled a lot of food banks here, but we also gave to India where there was the migrant crisis, as you recall. So our program, Chalo Give, which is an online donor program, enabled 8 million meals to be given both in the US and in India. And that's when you saw this outpouring of giving as opposed to getting, and that's how we reacted in the greater community of Indians. Is what can we do to help people with hunger? Because there were 20 million people unemployed here, 100 million plus migrant workers in India walking back home without food. And so that's when we saw the true spirit of our community come out.